My name is Maya. I am 16 years old, and last week my aunt called me at midnight screaming. Sign the papers now, or you lose everything your grandmother left you, she shouted into the phone. See, this is for your own good, she said, her voice switching to fake sweetness. You're too young to handle money. I'll invest it for you. Just trust me, trust. That was her word, not mine. I stared at the document she'd shoved in front of me earlier that day. Power of attorney forms, investment contracts, legal papers I didn't fully understand, but knew in my gut were wrong. Not a conversation with my mom, not a lawyer present, not even time to read what I was signing. Just my aunt's manicured hand pushing a pen toward me and her voice saying, "Sign here, here, and here," like I was supposed to be grateful. "I need time to think," I said into the phone, my voice shaking. "There is no time," she snapped. "The deadline is tomorrow. If you don't sign, the estate goes into probate and legal fees will eat everything. Your grandmother wanted you to have this money. Don't you want to honor her wishes?" I did want to honor my grandmother. She'd raised me for 3 years when my mom was sick. She'd promised me this inheritance would pay for college, help me start my life. And she died 6 months ago, leaving me $180,000 in her will. But something about the way my aunt was pushing, the midnight calls, the urgent deadlines, the way she wouldn't let my mom see the papers, it all felt wrong. "I'll call you tomorrow," I said, and hung up before she could argue. For the next hour, I sat in my room, documents spread across my bed, Googling every legal term I didn't understand. And slowly, piece by piece, I started to realize what these papers actually said. If I signed them, my aunt wouldn't just manage my inheritance. She'd have complete control, power to withdraw, invest, or spend however she wanted. And buried in paragraph 7 of the contract, all investment decisions were final and non-refundable, with no beneficiary right to accounting or audit. In other words, she could take everything, and I'd have no legal way to get it back, or even see where it went. My hands started shaking as I screenshot every page. Saved them to 3 different cloud accounts. Started a document titled Evidence. Because if my aunt thought I was just going to hand over $180,000 because she used big words and fake urgency, she was about to learn that 16-year-olds have Google recording apps and a lot more power than she realized. Do you want to know how refusing to sign one document turned into a 5-month investigation that exposed my aunt's decade-long pattern of stealing from elderly relatives, and how I made sure she paid for every dollar she tried to take from me? Stay to the end, and you'll see exactly how I turned her pressure tactics into a paper trail that destroyed her. The first major red flag came the next morning. I woke up to 17 missed calls, 12 from my aunt, 5 from her husband, Uncle Derek. Then the text started. Aunt Lisa, 6:47 a.m. Maya, we need those signatures today. Stop being difficult. Aunt Lisa, 7:03 a.m. Your grandmother would be so disappointed in your selfishness. Aunt Lisa, 7:31 in Preferred. Fine, if you won't cooperate, I'm calling your mother. Uncle Derek, 7:45 at SEC. Your aunt is trying to help you. Stop acting like a spoiled brat and sign the papers. I screenshot every message, added them to a folder labeled Pressure Tactics, Day 2. My mom was already awake when I went downstairs, phone pressed to her ear, face tight with stress. Lisa, I understand you're trying to help, but Maya should have time to... She paused, listening. No, I'm not turning her against you. She just wants to understand what she's signing. Another pause. I watched my mom's expression shift from stress to angry. That's not fair, and you know it. Maya loved Mom. This isn't about Lisa, Lisa. She pulled the phone away from her ear. She hung up on me. What did she say? My mom sank into a kitchen chair. She said if you don't sign by noon today, she's withdrawing her offer to help and you'll lose everything to legal fees and estate taxes. She said I'm being a bad parent by not forcing you to cooperate. Mom, I don't think we should sign these papers. Why not? I pulled out my phone and showed her what I'd found. The paragraph about no beneficiary right to audit. the clause giving Aunt Lisa sole discretion over all investments. The section that said any disputes would be settled by arbitration, meaning I couldn't sue even if she stole everything. My mom read in silence, her face going pale. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Maya, this isn't a management agreement. This is basically signing over ownership." "I know." "Why would Lisa do this?" "I don't know, but I want to find out before we sign anything." My mom stood up, suddenly decisive. "We're calling a lawyer, right now." She grabbed her laptop and started searching. Found an estate attorney with good reviews named Richard Patterson, who could see us that afternoon. Emergency consultation because of the urgent deadline Aunt Lisa kept pushing. "We have an appointment at 2 p.m., Mom said. "Don't respond to any more texts or calls from Lisa until we talk to him." "What if she shows up here?" "Then we don't answer the door." At 8:23 a.m., Aunt Lisa did exactly that. I heard her car in the driveway, then aggressive knocking, then the doorbell, then her voice through the mail slot. "Claire, Maya, I know you're in there. Open this door right now." My mom and I stood frozen in the kitchen. "This is ridiculous," Aunt Lisa shouted. "I'm trying to help you. Your mother left Maya that money, and I'm the only one in this family with financial experience. If you don't open this door and let me explain." My mom pulled out her phone and started recording audio. "Claire, I swear to God, if you're poisoning Maya against me, there will be consequences. I'll make sure everyone in this family knows you're the reason she loses her inheritance." The threats continued for 3 more minutes. Then Aunt Lisa's car screeched out of the driveway. My mom saved the recording. "Add that to your evidence folder." I did. Then I created a timeline. Day for our 1. Aunt Lisa pressures me to sign documents. Won't let Mom review them. Day 2, 12:47 a.m. Midnight phone call demanding immediate signature. Day 2, 6:47 a.m. 17 missed calls, threatening texts. Day 2, 8:23 a.m. Shows up at house, makes threats through mail slot. "She's escalating," I said. "Which means we're doing the right thing by getting a lawyer," Mom replied. Mr. Patterson's office smelled like old books and coffee. He was in his 50s, gray hair, kind eyes, and the kind of calm energy that made me feel like maybe everything would be okay. We brought every document: the power of attorney forms, the investment contracts, the texts, the recording of Aunt Lisa's threats, the call logs showing the harassment pattern. Mr. Patterson spread everything across his desk and read in silence for 15 minutes. Finally, he looked up. "Don't sign any of this." "Why?" I asked. "Because none of it is legally required. Your aunt is lying about deadlines and probate fees. Your grandmother's will was properly filed. The estate is already in process. Yes, there are some taxes and administrative fees, but nothing that requires you to give someone else power of attorney over your inheritance. So the urgent deadline is fake? Completely fabricated. Estate processing takes months. There's no midnight deadline, no emergency. She's creating artificial pressure to manipulate you into signing away your rights." My mom leaned forward. "Why would she do that?" "Because if Maya signs these documents, your sister-in-law would have complete unsupervised control over $180,000. She could withdraw it, spend it, invest it anywhere she wants, and Maya would have almost no legal recourse to get it back." "That's theft," I said. "Legally, it's called financial exploitation. If you signed these papers voluntarily, it would be very difficult to prove she coerced you, even though that's exactly what she's doing." "What should we do?" Mom asked. Mr. Patterson pulled out a legal pad. "First, you formally refuse to sign anything. Send a written notification to your aunt and to the estate executor." "Who is that, by the way?" "I don't know," I admitted. "That's your first homework. Find out who the actual executor is. It should be listed in the will. Get copies of all estate documents directly from them, not from your aunt." He continued writing. "Second, document every instance of harassment. You've already started, which is smart. Keep doing it. Texts, calls, voicemails, surprise visits. All of it. What about the threats she made this morning? I asked. Those are especially important. Threatening to turn family against you if you don't comply is coercion. Save that recording. If this escalates, we may need a restraining order. Do you think it will escalate? Mom asked nervously. People who are this aggressive about controlling someone else's money usually escalate when they're denied, but we'll be prepared. Then he asked the question that changed everything. Has your aunt managed estates for other family members before? I thought about it. Memories clicked into place like puzzle pieces I'd been ignoring. My great Aunt Dorothy died 3 years ago. Aunt Lisa said she helped with the estate paperwork. And my mom's cousin James, he died in a car accident when I was 8. He had 2 teenage kids. Aunt Lisa said she was helping them manage their inheritance. Mr. Patterson's pen paused. Do you know if those children actually received their full inheritances? No. I was too young to pay attention. But I could ask. I think you should. Quietly. If your aunt has done this before, if this is a pattern, it changes everything. It could be evidence of systematic fraud, possibly elder abuse if she's targeted vulnerable family members. My stomach dropped. You think she's stolen from other people? I think her behavior is too practiced to be a first attempt. The fake urgency, the manipulative documents, the immediate escalation to threats, that's someone who has experience pressuring people into giving up their rights. We left his office with a plan. 1. Formally refuse to sign. 2. Contact the estate executor directly. 3. Document all harassment. 4. Quietly investigate whether Aunt Lisa had stolen from other relatives. What we didn't know yet was that my aunt had been running this scam for over 12 years, targeting at least 6 different grieving families, and that my refusal to sign would be the thread that unraveled her entire operation. That evening, I made a list of every relative I could remember who died in the last 15 years, and whether Aunt Lisa had been involved in their estates. The list was longer than I expected. Great Aunt Dorothy, 20, Cousin James, 2016, Uncle Raymond, 2018, Great Uncle Foster, 2019, Maria's husband, I didn't know his name but remembered the funeral, 2021, Grandma, 6 months ago. 6 deaths, all with estates, all where Aunt Lisa had helped. I started with my second cousin Emma, who would be 24 now. Her dad was James, the cousin who died in the car accident. I found her on Instagram and sent a message. Hey, Emma, it's Maya, Claire's daughter. I need to ask you something about your dad's estate. Can we talk? She responded within an hour. Sure, call me. I stepped out onto our back porch where my mom couldn't hear, suddenly nervous. Emma answered on the first ring. Maya, what's going on? I need to ask you something, and it might be uncomfortable. When your dad died, he left you and your brother money, right? Yeah. Why? How much was it supposed to be? Long silence. Then, how did you know it was supposed to be something different? My heart started pounding. What do you mean? Maya, how much do you think my dad left me? I found a copy of his will in my grandma's papers when we were going through her things. It said $75,000 to you and $75,000 to your brother. $150,000 total. I heard Emma take a sharp breath. Aunt Lisa told me it was only $30,000. She said legal fees and estate taxes took more than half. She gave me a check for $30,000 when I turned 18 and said I should be grateful it wasn't less. Emma, I don't think legal fees cost $45,000 on a $75,000 inheritance. What are you saying? I'm saying I think Aunt Lisa stole from you, and I think she's trying to do the same thing to me. The words hung in the air between us. Then Emma said something that made my blood run cold. Oh my God. Maya, she did the exact same thing to me. The pressure, the urgent deadlines. She showed up at my mom's house the day I turned 18 with papers and said I had to sign immediately or the money would be lost to taxes. I was 18 and stupid and I just signed everything. Did you ever see accounting? Receipts? Proof of what the legal fees actually were? No. She said the documents were too complicated and I should just trust family. I didn't know any better. I was a teenager who just lost her dad, and someone who seemed official was telling me what to do. Have you talked to your brother? Did he get his full $75,000? I don't know. We don't talk much. But Maya, if what you're saying is true, if she stole from me, I think she's been doing this to a lot of people. Will you help me prove it? Tell me what you need. Over the next 2 hours, Emma and I created a plan. She would contact her brother. I would reach out to other relatives whose parents or grandparents had died. We'd ask one simple question. Did Aunt Lisa help with the estate? And did you receive everything you were supposed to? By midnight, I had responses from 3 people. Great Aunt Dorothy's grandson, Marcus, now 22. Yeah, Aunt Lisa managed everything. Grandma left me $40,000. Lisa said after legal fees and taxes, I'd get about $15,000. That's what I received. Why? Emma's brother, Tyler, now 26. I got $30,000. Lisa said the estate had a lot of debt and legal issues. I was 18. I didn't question it. Uncle Raymond's daughter, Jasmine, now 28. My dad left me $90,000. Aunt Lisa said she'd invest it until I turned 21. When I turned 21, she gave me $35,000 and said the market had been bad, and that's what was left. I was devastated. I thought my dad had left me more. I typed everything into a spreadsheet. Deceased. I said some year. Beneficiary. Amount in will. Amount received. Amount missing. Aunt Lisa involved. Cousin James. Twin season 16. Emma, $75,000, $30,000 to $45,000. Yes. Cousin James, 2016. Tyler, $75,000, $30,000, $45,000. Yes. Uncle Raymond, 2018. Jasmine, $90,000, $35,000, $55,000. Yes. Great Aunt Dorothy, 2020. Marcus, $40,000, $15,000, $25,000. Yes. Total potentially stolen from just these 4 people, $170,000. And I was supposed to be next. With $180,000 on the line, I screenshot the conversations, saved the spreadsheet to 3 different cloud accounts. Then I sent everything to Mr. Patterson with a message. I think my aunt has been stealing from estates for at least 6 years. I found 4 victims, total stolen, at least $170,000. What do I do now? He responded at 7 a.m. the next morning. Come to my office immediately. Bring anyone willing to testify. This is bigger than your inheritance. This is criminal fraud. By noon the next day, we had 5 people sitting in Mr. Patterson's conference room. Me, my mom, Emma, Tyler, and Marcus. Jasmine was on video call from across the state. Mr. Patterson had brought an associate, a younger woman named Sarah Chen, who specialized in financial crimes. Let me make sure I understand, Ms. Chen said, reviewing our spreadsheet. Your aunt approached each of you when you were grieving and vulnerable. She offered to help or manage your inheritance. She had you sign documents you didn't fully understand. Then she gave you significantly less money than you were entitled to. Claiming fees or taxes or bad investments took the rest. We all nodded. And none of you ever saw accounting? Receipts? Proof of where the money went? She said it was too complicated, Emma said, that we should just trust her. Did any of you have your own lawyer review the documents? We shook our heads. Ms. Chen looked at Mr. Patterson. This is textbook estate fraud, potentially elder financial abuse if she was exploiting the grieving process. Can we prove it? I asked. We'd need to get copies of the actual estate documents, the wills, the probate filings, the bank records. Then compare what was actually in the estates versus what she told you was there. How do we get those documents? Marcus asked. Most estate documents are public record. We can request them from the probate court. Bank records are trickier, But if we can show probable cause of fraud, we might be able to subpoena them. Mr. Patterson leaned forward. Here's what I recommend. We file a formal complaint with the probate court alleging estate fraud. We request a full investigation. And if we find evidence of criminal activity, we report it to law enforcement. Will that get our money back? Tyler asked. Maybe. Depends on where the money went and what assets your aunt has. But more importantly, it will stop her from doing this to anyone else. I thought about my grandmother's $180,000, still sitting in the estate account, still accessible to Aunt Lisa if I didn't act fast. What about my inheritance? Can we protect it while we investigate her? Absolutely. We file an emergency motion to freeze estate disbursements until the investigation is complete. That way, she can't touch anything. She's going to freak out, I said. Good, Ms. Chen replied. People who are guilty tend to reveal themselves when they panic. We spent the next 3 hours filing paperwork, formal complaints, requests for estate records, emergency motions, affidavits from each victim describing what happened. By the end of the day, we'd filed documents in 4 different probate courts across 3 counties. Now we wait, Mr. Patterson said. The courts will request records. Your aunt will be notified that there's an investigation, and we'll see how she responds. What if she runs? I asked. Then that's evidence of guilt. But I doubt she will. People like this tend to think they're untouchable. They've gotten away with it for so long they can't imagine being caught. We left the office as the sun was setting. My phone was off. I'd stopped responding to Aunt Lisa's calls and texts days ago. But when I got home and turned it back on, there were 47 missed calls and a voicemail that made my skin crawl. Maya, this is your last chance. Sign the papers or I'm withdrawing my offer completely. You'll get nothing, nothing. Your grandmother would be ashamed of you. Call me back, tonight. I saved the voicemail and added it to the evidence folder. Then I sent one text back. I'm not signing. And I know what you did to Emma, Tyler, Marcus, and Jasmine. We filed a complaint. Stay away from me. I blocked her number before she could respond. 3 minutes later, my mom's phone rang. Aunt Lisa screaming so loud I could hear her from across the room. Your daughter is trying to destroy this family. She's making accusations about things she doesn't understand. I'm trying to help her and she's... My mom hung up, blocked the number. We're not engaging anymore, she said. Everything goes through the lawyer now. That night, I barely slept. Kept thinking about the spreadsheet, about Emma and Tyler growing up thinking their dad had left them less money than he actually did, about Jasmine being told the market had eaten her inheritance when really her aunt had stolen it, about how many families Aunt Lisa had hurt, and how no one had ever questioned her because she was family, because she seemed official, because she used words like investment strategy and estate optimization. But I was questioning her. And I wasn't stopping until everyone knew the truth. The first break in the case came 6 days later. Mr. Patterson called my mom's phone at 9 a.m. We got the estate records for James's estate, the one from 2016. Claire, you need to see this. We drove to his office immediately. Spread across the conference table were stacks of official documents, probate filings, bank statements, court orders. James's estate was valued at exactly $156,000 after debts. Mr. Patterson said. The will specified $75,000 to Emma, $75,000 to Tyler, and the remaining $6,000 to cover final expenses and legal fees. So the kids should have gotten a $150,000 total, I said. Correct. Now look at this. He pointed to a document titled Final Estate Distribution. It showed legal fees, $4,200, court costs, $450, executor fee, $1,200, total administrative costs, $5,850, distributed to Emma James, $75,000, distributed to Tyler James, $75,000. Wait, Emma said, leaning forward. That says I got $75,000, but I only received $30,000. Exactly. Mr. Patterson pulled out another document. This is the signed receipt showing you acknowledged receiving $75,000. Emma stared at it, at her own signature at the bottom. I never saw this document, and I definitely didn't receive $75,000. Look at the date, Ms. Chen pointed out. This receipt is dated 3 days after you turned 18, the same day Lisa would have given you the check for $30,000. So she had me sign a receipt saying I got the full amount, but only gave me part of it? Emma's voice shook. That's exactly what she did. And because you signed the receipt, the court closed the estate. As far as the official record shows, you received everything. There's no fraud on paper. But there is fraud, Tyler said. She just hid it really well. Correct. And look at this. Ms. Chen pulled up a bank statement. The estate account shows $75,000 being withdrawn for Emma and $75,000 for Tyler. Both withdrawals on the same day, both by check. But here's the interesting part. She pointed to the check numbers. Check 1847 to Emma James, $75,000. Check 1848 to Tyler James, $75,000. Both checks were deposited into an account at the same bank. Whose account? I asked. That's what we need to find out. The bank won't tell us without a subpoena, but I have a theory. She pulled out another statement. 3 days after those deposits, there's a transfer from an account ending in 4392 to an investment account registered to LHF Consulting LLC. What's LHF? Mom asked. Lisa Harper Financial Consulting, your aunt's business. The room went silent. She stole the money and deposited it into her own company account, I said slowly. Then she wrote them smaller checks from her personal account and made them sign receipts saying they got the full amount. That's our working theory, Mr. Patterson confirmed. And if she did it once, she probably did it multiple times. Can we prove it? Emma asked. We need subpoenas for the bank records, and we need to check the other estates to see if there's a similar pattern. Ms. Chen stood up. I'm filing for emergency subpoenas this afternoon, but I also think we need to involve law enforcement. This isn't just civil fraud. This is criminal theft, forgery, and possibly elder abuse if she was exploiting grieving family members. What happens if we call the police? I asked. They open an investigation. If they find evidence of criminal activity, they could file charges. Your aunt could be arrested. I thought about the midnight phone calls, the threats, the way she'd shown up at our house and screamed through the mail slot. Do it, I said. Call the police. Detective Morrison from the Financial Crimes Unit arrived at Mr. Patterson's office 2 days later. She was in her 40s, sharp eyes, and carried herself like someone who'd seen every scam imaginable. We walked her through everything, the timeline, the spreadsheet, the estate records, the suspicious bank transfers. She took notes without interrupting. When we finished, she said, How many estates are we talking about? At least 6 that we know of, Ms. Chen said. Potentially more if she's been doing this longer than we can trace. Total amount stolen? Conservatively, over $300,000 across 12 years. Detective Morrison's eyebrows went up. That's significant. That's organized fraud, possibly racketeering if we can show it was systematic. What do you need from us? I asked. Everything you have, documents, recordings, communications. I'll open a formal investigation. We'll subpoena bank records, interview witnesses, build a case. If what you're telling me is accurate, your aunt is looking at serious prison time. How long will this take? Emma asked. Months. These cases are complex. But I'll be thorough, and I'll keep you updated. She stood to leave, then turned back to me. Maya, you did the right thing by refusing to sign those documents. If you hadn't pushed back, we never would have uncovered this. You saved yourself and potentially helped a lot of other families get justice. After she left, I sat in the conference room staring at the wall. You okay? Mom asked. I just keep thinking about how many people she hurt. How many families are out there who don't know they were stolen from because they trusted her? That's not your fault. I know, but I could have signed those papers. I almost did if I'd been a little less paranoid, a little more trusting. But you weren't. You questioned her, and that made all the difference. The investigation moved faster than anyone expected. Within 2 weeks, Detective Morrison had subpoenaed bank records for all 6 estates. The pattern was identical across every single one. 1. large check written from estate account to beneficiary. 2. Check deposited into account that wasn't the beneficiary's. 3. Transfer to LHF Consulting LLC within days. 4. Smaller personal check from Aunt Lisa to beneficiary. 5. Receipt signed by beneficiary, acknowledging full amount. Forged amounts. The evidence was overwhelming. Aunt Lisa had been running the same scheme for 12 years. Take control of an estate, write checks to herself, give the victims partial payment, and pocket the difference. Total stolen, $342,000 from 8 different families. On a Tuesday morning in late October, Detective Morrison called my mom. "We're executing a search warrant this afternoon. I wanted to give you advance notice in case Lisa contacts you." "What are you searching for?" "Financial records, the documents Maya refused to sign, any other evidence of fraud, and we're bringing her in for questioning." That afternoon, my phone exploded with calls from relatives I barely knew. "Do you know why the police are at Lisa's house? What's going on? Did you report her for something?" I didn't respond to any of them, just waited. At 6:47 p.m., Detective Morrison called. "We've arrested your aunt. She's being charged with 8 counts of theft by deception, 6 counts of forgery, and multiple counts of fraud. Bail is set at $100,000. "Did she say anything?" "She denied everything. Said you and the other families are lying, that all the money was spent on legitimate fees and expenses. But the bank records don't match her story." "What happens now?" "Court, trial. If convicted, she's looking at significant prison time. Probably 10 to 15 years given the amount stolen and the number of victims." I hung up and sat on my bed, suddenly exhausted. My mom knocked and came in. "You heard?" "Yeah. How do you feel?" "I don't know. Relieved, I guess, and sad. She's still family." "She stopped being family when she decided to steal from children." "I know, but it's complicated." Mom sat next to me. "You did a brave thing. You protected yourself and helped other people. That matters more than family loyalty to someone who was hurting you." The next few months were a blur of legal proceedings. Aunt Lisa pleaded not guilty, hired an expensive lawyer, tried to claim the money had been spent on legitimate investment fees and that we were all misremembering how much we'd received. But the evidence was too strong. The bank records, the forged receipts, the pattern across 8 estates, the business accounts in her name where the stolen money had been deposited. In February, 4 months after her arrest, the trial began. I testified on the 3rd day, walked through everything: the pressure tactics, the midnight calls, the documents I'd refused to sign. Aunt Lisa's lawyer tried to make it sound like I was a rebellious teenager who didn't understand financial planning. "Isn't it true you've always had a difficult relationship with your aunt?" "No, I barely knew her before she tried to steal from me." "Isn't it true you were looking for a way to avoid responsibility by refusing to sign legitimate legal documents?" "The documents weren't legitimate. They would have given her complete control of my inheritance with no accountability." "Your Honor, the witness is speculating." The prosecutor stood up. "Your Honor, we have expert testimony from Mr. Patterson that those documents were designed to facilitate fraud. This isn't speculation." The judge agreed. Emma testified. Tyler, Marcus, Jasmine. One by one, we told our stories. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty on all counts. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. The judge was a woman in her 60s who'd clearly seen enough. "Ms. Harper, you systematically exploited grieving families for over a decade. You targeted vulnerable young people who trusted you. You forged documents. You stole hundreds of thousands of dollars. And when confronted, you showed no remorse." Aunt Lisa started crying. "Your Honor, I made mistakes, but I never meant to hurt anyone." "You meant exactly what you did. This was calculated, organized, and cruel. I'm sentencing you to 12 years in state prison. You will also pay full restitution to every victim, totaling $342,000 plus interest. You are permanently barred from serving as executor, trustee, or power of attorney for anyone. And you will register as a financial criminal, which will follow you for life. 12 years. I watched them handcuff her and lead her away. She looked at me once, her eyes filled with hate. I looked back and felt nothing. No guilt, no satisfaction, just relief that it was over. The money recovery took longer. Aunt Lisa's assets were seized: her house, cars, investment accounts. Together, it totaled about $280,000. Not everything she'd stolen, but most of it. The court divided it proportionally among the victims based on how much each person had been owed. I received $180,000, my full inheritance finally. Emma and Tyler got their missing $45,000 each. Marcus, Jasmine, and the others got their missing amounts. Not everyone got everything back. Some of the money was gone, spent over the years, but we got justice. And we got most of what was ours. On my 18th birthday, I received the official transfer: $180,000 deposited into an account in my name only. I cried. Not from happiness exactly, just from the weight of finally having what my grandmother had wanted me to have. My mom took me to dinner that night. "What are you going to do with it?" "College fun like Grandma wanted, and maybe some therapy because this whole thing was traumatic." She laughed. "That's a good plan." "Mom? Yeah. Do you think I did the right thing? Pushing back? Getting her arrested?" "Maya, you didn't get her arrested. She got herself arrested by committing crimes. You just refused to be her next victim." "Some relatives are still mad at me. They think I destroyed the family." "The family was already destroyed. She did that. You just made sure everyone knew about it." "It's been 2 years since that midnight phone call when Aunt Lisa demanded I sign away my inheritance. I'm 18 now, starting college in the fall. The $180,000 is safely invested in accounts my mom and I control together. No more trusting family members I barely know. Emma and I talk regularly. She used her recovered $45,000 to go back to school. Tyler bought a house. Marcus paid off debt. Jasmine started her own business. We didn't get back the years we spent thinking we'd been left with less than we were. We didn't get back the trust we lost in family. But we got enough to move forward. Aunt Lisa writes me letters from prison sometimes. Long, rambling things about how I ruined her life, how she was only trying to help, how I'll regret turning against family. I don't read them anymore. Ms. Chen taught me I don't have to. My grandmother's funeral was 2 years ago. I was too young then to give a eulogy. But if I could talk to her now, I'd tell her this: "Thank you for leaving me money for college. Thank you for believing I was smart enough to use it well. And thank you for raising me to question things that don't feel right, even when it means standing up to family." Because that instinct, that refusal to just sign what someone put in front of me, saved me from becoming another one of Aunt Lisa's victims. Last week, I got a message from a cousin I'd never met. Her grandmother had just died, left her $50,000, and a family member was pressuring her to sign power of attorney documents for her own good. "I heard what happened with you and Aunt Lisa," she wrote. "Can you help me figure out if these papers are legit?" I looked at the documents she sent. The same clauses, the same language, the same fake urgency. "Don't sign," I wrote back. "Let me connect you with my lawyer." Because here's what I learned. Predators rely on victims staying quiet. They rely on shame and confusion and the belief that questioning family is betrayal. But questioning isn't betrayal. It's survival. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is say no when everyone is telling you to say yes. Aunt Lisa thought she could pressure a 16-year-old into handing over $180,000 because I was young, grieving, and scared. She was right about me being young and grieving. But she was wrong about scared. I wasn't too scared to Google legal terms, too scared to screenshot evidence, too scared to call a lawyer, too scared to tell other victims what I'd found. And that fear, or lack of it, cost her everything. If this story resonated with you, drop a comment about where you're watching from. And if someone's pressuring you to sign documents you don't understand, especially involving money or legal rights. Get a lawyer. Ask questions. Take time. Trust your instincts. Subscribe for more stories. Because sometimes the people who claim they're helping you are actually stealing from you. And sometimes the best revenge is refusing to be their next victim and making sure they can't hurt anyone else. My name is Maya. I'm 18 years old, and I'm the girl who said no to her aunt and uncovered a decade-long fraud scheme that put a family predator in prison where she belongs. And I do it again. Every single time.